Hello, my name is Dolan.
Hi, my name is Fatima Aleem.
My name is Madison Asby.
I'm Sam Witzofsky.
And I'm Bryson.
And today we're going to be talking about our Assistive Device project. So our team worked on making an assistive device to help target population, which chose just people who have a problem with holding things. So this could be due to poor grip strength, missing hands, missing fingers, or any other disability similar to that. We chose this group because we thought that there's a lot of design space for helping these people, and we can make a large impact by solving this problem. We focused on the issue of holding utensils because we thought that was important and they could really use some assistive devices in this field.
After deciding that we felt that we needed to focus on the ability to emulate grip and this ability to create a device that could hold these utensils, our first thing we did was research current market products. And like we thought, most products held up to being the ability to increase grip by either having a wider base or something that you can physically have your whole hand around, but don't actually create the sensation of grip if you don't have the ability to create grip. We also then went into the design process of focusing on materials such as plastics versus metals, as well as focusing on how we wanted to attach our device.
So for our actual device itself, first thing that we decided is that we wanted it to be universal, as universal as we could possibly make it. And so one of the things that we decided for that is we wanted to make it modular. And so the easiest way that we came up with to do that is we have an 8-peg system that not only allows it to be modular, but also allows you to rotate the angle that it can be at. And so here you can see that. And so then the other thing we did is we attached magnets to it so that you could connect different pieces to it. And so for our actual pieces themselves, we have came up with two kind of final prototypes, one that's a little bit more simple and one that's a little bit more complex. So the more complex one, we have these screws that work kind of like a vise to tighten down utensil. And so this allows you to use a lot of different sizes of utensils because not all utensils are one size. And so we figured that this was a more universal one. This also keeps you from having to buy multiple different pieces just to do the same thing. So the second one we came up with was a little bit more simple, and it uses like a piece of pool noodle kind of foam in the middle to create a seal around whatever you put in it. And so then this was a more simple design, and it allowed for a lot more usability with like less mobility. And so that's our designs for that. So the for a glove.
So for the glove, we wanted to make it as accessible as possible. So we used a glove, like a mitten that's like for bath. So like the way that it feels, it attaches the Velcro really nicely, and that like the Velcro comes off and on super easily. But it also sticks on, so that it's like it stays on. But it also is very accessible for those who do not have a hand. We decided to use a mitt like this because if you don't have a hand, obviously it's a lot easier to adjust this. And for the other to attach to to attach the gripper part to the glove, we decided to glue on the part that attaches to each like grip thing that we made, and this is adjustable, so you can move it from each side of each like part of the Velcro, so that it's more adjustable to your like hand. Um, and and normally we would like with the little holes over here, we could attach it to the Velcro to come off and on easier. But in this case, we just super glued it so that it stick on for a very long time.
Throughout our project, we realized that some of the materials are not very accessible to people with grip problems, such as like the Velcro and screws for the gripper. We would advise incoming first years to find better materials for that purpose to make it easier on the person who needs this with those disabilities. But our main focus throughout the project was the universality of the product and making sure it was accessible for people with all types of disabilities and making sure it can be used with any type of utensil and any type of way. We also want to make sure it was affordable because many products on the market right now are very expensive, and that could be hard for people with disabilities to be able to afford those things. So we wanted to make sure it could be used in different ways, so you only have to buy just one or two parts instead of having to buy multiple things over time. And we have our sources on the side of the poster over here.
So for our project's timeline, we really laid out a pretty cohesive timeline first, and we found that that really helped out our project. So we came up with pretty much milestones for what we needed to hit and when. And the first thing we decided was we set a strict timeline and a strict kind of date for when we needed to have our idea fleshed out and finalized. And then we set a lot of milestones for when we needed to have prototypes, when we needed to have certain like presentations on our prototypes, and just when we needed to have everything printed and like all of our materials put together. And so I think one of my advices for incoming students would be that the timeline really helped us a lot to stay organized, and that if you can come up with a really good timeline and stick to the timeline really strictly, it's going to help you a lot.
Yeah, so one of the things we learned was using timeline effectively, but there's also some other things such as considering the user experience and just working cohesively as a team that we think that first year students should really focus on. Thank you for your time. This is our project on assistive devices.